Hello guys, good morning to everybody. It's long time, and today I thought to make just a second. Let me see if it works or not. Our live. Just a second. Here we go. This video is live. Yeah. Hello guys. I can see it's working. Okay. Morning, Chris. Good morning, Thea. Good morning, Tolik. Guys, today, normally, as you know, I make lives in our closed group for the members of the Metabolic Healing Program. But you know, sometimes it's great to make morning lives also for an open group for you guys, just to remind you that it is possible to actually handle also pretty complicated cases with our protocol, and that is the case today. Today we are talking about chronic fatigue. And you know, chronic fatigue basically can be different things. It can be adrenal fatigue as a symptom of metabolic syndrome, or basically a dysfunction on the level of mitochondria. It can be a symptom of different things where our body just not producing enough energy, our cells, and not really optimized to use energy in a good way. So, but chronic fatigue can also be a diagnosis, and that's what we are talking about today. It's called chronic fatigue syndrome, and it also has a name of myalgic encephalomyelitis, which is a pretty complicated name, but and basically researchers and scientists in the medical profession is not quite or not 100% sure whether or not it's the same thing or not. So today I'm going to tell you about healing story of the person. He was my client was 25 years old, resident of Denmark, and that was the case for 4 years ago. I was working with that time where I've been taking one-on-one clients. Now, as you know, I'm working only online. So we've been working together for, well, 2 years, almost 2 years, and it's a great story. He started in a state of chronic pain, basically being staying in the bed for the most of the day. He could only move for 15 minutes to half an hour a day during the day, and if you detract 30 minutes from 24 hours, it will be 23 hours 30 minutes a day in bed. So most of the day in bed. How did it happen? He had a pretty vicious flu, influenza, and then after influenza he could not really recover. So his energy production went in total disorder, and so it was I was not sure basically whether or not I can help, because you know I'm not selling drugs, I'm not medicating people, I'm not a doctor. So the only thing I'm a trainer, and I help people to change their life, basically to change the lifestyle, to train, and to basically learn different aspects of physiology awareness. So this guy, 25 years old, musician, he was playing saxophone. He used to play saxophone. He could not basically move during the day. Chronic pain, insomnia, could not sleep, fatigue through the day, panic attacks, anxiety, total emotional turbulence, and as we understood, morning hyperventilation from 4 o'clock in the morning every day, pretty low energy because of that. So the diagnosis, he is he's a very tall guy, about 2 meters actually, meter 95, and he's some skeletal symptoms of Marfan syndrome, and lots of pain. And Marfan syndrome is a genetic disorder of the connective tissue. The degree to which people are affected varies. People with Marfan tend to be tall and thin, very long arms, legs, fingers, and toes. They also typically have flexible joints and scoliosis. And it did not really help, right? So that's a strong genetic predisposition to this slender body type. 10 persons in the near family had the same. So though without the same symptoms of CFS, of chronic fatigue syndrome. So they are tall and slender body types, but without chronic fatigue. So another diagnosis, he got anorexia nervosa atypica, while several doctors disagreed because, whether or not it was an eating disorder or just this genetic disorder. And then he gave 2 diagnoses of chronic fatigue syndrome and myalgic encephalomyelitis. So, and then he was going into the clinic for eating disorders, and they suggested that the client should eat, and that's a quote, more white bread and sugar for more energy. Clinic for Eating Disorders in Copenhagen, European capital, anno 2016. So the clinic's dietitian recommends eating fat and sugar, white bread, polished rice, white pasta, and to increase dietary fiber. We found out actually that he was eating a lot of carrots. And just taking carrots out, together with all the other things the dietitian recommended, oh man, it changed a lot. The dietary fiber was actually one of the biggest problems. Okay, so to the story. Our non-invasive healing strategy. Targeting single genes will always remain the strategy of targeting single symptoms. That's why we never do this. We are not using targeting therapies. So the targeting single genes will never be able to address the real causes of a complex disease. This strategy with different kinds of diseases and diagnosis has been shown to be a complete fallacy. That's why normally when we use targeted therapies, we are trying to eliminate symptoms, not the causes. So many recent scientific studies show that metabolic approaches can stop and reverse symptoms of metabolic syndrome. And the syndrome are different. I will just tell you. It's called ME, CFS, fibromyalgia, CHVS, chronic hyperventilation syndrome, GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, SIBO, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, ICV, IAS, and then many, many different things. Other things that are incurable by conventional medicine. because we need to address causes. We worked together for, from 16, now I remember it was around 18 months. Our strategy was using my protocol, which is a non-pharmacological metabolic approach to address the causes of metabolic syndrome. I did not see him at having this diagnosis, chronic syndrome. Chronic syndrome, it's a symptom, right? So I saw what was causing this symptom, and it was a metabolic syndrome. And I also wrote my article in Elsevier about metabolic syndrome, about basically working with reversing metabolic syndrome with using breathing, retraining, and the change of eating regimen. So it's called Sakharoff Protocol, as you might know. So we used the Sakharoff Protocol to change the body cell's environment and to stop metabolic dysfunction. I use Sakharoff Protocol as my non-pharmacological metabolic approach for reversing adrenal fatigue and metabolic syndrome. Again, many different triggers of this adrenal fatigue and metabolic syndrome. And the major part of this work is to address something called pregnenolone steal. And this is basically a disorder of hormonal disorder, major thing, as a result of combination of chronic stress and chronic malnourishment. And that's, now we go to the practical part. So what we did practically, we trained Buteyko method right from the start, first with small steps, then with higher and higher intensity, slowly overcoming plateaus and moving further and further in the healing process. So we changed daily nutrition to make a slow transition to nutritional ketosis. We made dietary changes to improve nutrient absorption rate and improve mitochondrial function. We made exercises against hyperventilation with Buteyko method, and it helped very much, basically, and I will show you in a moment. It helped to increase cellular oxygenation, to decrease muscle ache and fatigue. And we also made very low intensity structured movement. And it's helped basically to induce this hormetic dose response. Remember, hormesis, that's basically a physiological process where very low dose of stressor, of a particular stressor, can help cells recover. And that requires some knowledge of dose response, how little or how big dose it has to be, not to kill the cell, but basically little level of stress will help to for the cell to recuperate, and also to initiate mitochondrial normal function and mitochondria in the cells. So daily exercises against hyperventilation have optimized sleep and reduced morning hyperventilation. We call it dawn effect and Somogi effect. All of those things that we are doing, basically working with on our metabolic health program. And all of this resulted in a slow recovery. So I will now show you how it basically looks like. So this is that's my old style tools for 4 years ago. Now we have an app to using, and he's a tall guy, so I showed him some positive pictures of a structure. He had a very bad structure, so I showed him Maasai people with this perfect structure. And when we started working with physical movement, that was actually the picture. So 2 years of work, we made different picture for his freezer, for his fridge, so he remembers some daily routines. We made actually a map of his neighborhood when he started walking. So we made, as you can see here, we made different possibilities for him, because he needed really to plan how to go. So the distance was 1 kilometer to 1.5 kilometer, and that he already started walking like that after 3-4 months. So, and I will show you afterwards. It's just showing us our everyday work, and that's our basically measurement. As you know, people normally, when I work, I can see all the lines are totally used here, but here he could not really do it all the time, this person. So you can see only few things are measured, very few, and with a lot of breaks. So compliance were not 100%. That was summertime, and then we started again, basically many breaks. He was falling off the wagon, and I was basically trying to pick him up all the time. So, but basically what happened, it resulted in very good healing. Look, this is weeks in 2016-17. You see his morning control pause, which is basically what we need to go up to 40 and then to 60, and that's Buteyko method. So he started with 9 seconds. Basically, I remember as 5. That was a week average, and he ended up at 40. And 40, it's basically a very good level. I will show you what else happened in a second, and I will show you also he went into ketosis, and you can see morning ketones versus morning glucose. Morning glucose shows a very positive falling trend down to 4 from, well, he started with 6 in the start, but this is down to 4, and ketone levels slowly, but he was not adhering 100% to the diet. But and we, you know, I've been working with his BMI all the time, trying to measure a lot of things, and I've been diminishing his protein intake. I don't do this anymore. I think it's a fallacy. I do it a little bit, well, a lot different. I would do it very different now, but you know, still the results. To the results were great. Average resting heart rate declined slowly in 1 year from about 100. His pulse, the resting pulse, was 100 and went down to 60. Now guys, this is one of the biggest things, absolutely biggest things, because basically resting heart rate shows a lot, shows basically how metabolism changes. He had heart problems, he had chest pressure, and it was appearing far less often than before, which is a great thing. Morning muscle pain has slowly subsided during training, which was a big problem. It was also that was stopped him from getting up. Morning muscle pain. Muscle seizures stopped for the most part, yet still some muscle groups was overloaded, required more training. Headache was gone absolutely after dietary change and exclusion of sugar. It was a huge problem before. Headache was a huge problem. Acne, skin inflammation has improved drastically after cost changes. And he was not doing my regimen that I'm doing now, which is called essential ketogenic. He was doing just normal keto, and that was basically a problem, because that 4 years ago I was just starting my understanding of what do we need to reverse these kind of very complicated cases, and this is essential ketogenic regimen that I'm doing now with very good results. So digestive function improved very much after transition to ketogenic regimen. Stomach ache, very rare after several stages of keto adaptation. And he actually started playing saxophone again. started doing sessions with his old band after 1 year. So, and in the weekends, he started after 1 year to visit his friends. But in the start, it was leading to 3 days bedtime stay after this weekend. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the weekends where he visited friends, was like staying in bed. But later, it was no longer like that, but still had some fatigue in the start of the week if the weekend activities were intensive. So his diurnal and circadian rhythms were close to normalization. So normal. So what we did also, he used to stay, read and play, computer late at night. We shifted it, we stopped it, and that helped very, very much for sleep hacking. So when we stopped higher nightly activity, it really, really helped. So unfortunately, we stopped after two years. There's some things he did not really want to change to essential ketogenic, and they learned a lot. The whole family helped, his mother and father also. So I felt like that now they can go for themselves after 2 years. So what was yet to improve? Temperature regulation was still unchanged. It was hot body, but freezing fingers and toes, and it requires longer time. It requires also more movement, and it requires also next step in form of essential ketogenic regimen. And he was not ready to implement this. If we're talking about thyroid function, that's what an adrenal fatigue, what it really needed here: full compliance with essential nutrients only regimen, full compliance with elimination regimen of all possible dietary nutrient triggers, and that's what essential ketogenic regimen is about. And the triggers are of chronic inflammation in the level of cells and mitochondria. And we also need to enter a stable breathing optimization regimen to achieve stable CP over 60. And that's what we're basically, first our main target was 40, which he, as you saw here, he actually reached. I will show you again that the result of 2 years training, we reached from 5 to 40 here, but the compliance were not 100%, and we need this basically. So now I'm doing the program where with very low cost I can basically help people to maintain their health, because we contact every day for a long time. Now I started Russian group first. It's more than 1 year ago, and now I have a big group of people that already after 12 months are doing this. And this is great. Many good testimonials. So now it's possible. So basically, guys, that's what I wanted to tell you. I think it's a beautiful story, but mitochondrial dysfunction is really hard to heal. Requires intensive regimen. And intensive here, it's not just as the more the better. Intensive here actually means compliance to doing things every day. And when you fall off the wagon, you get helped. That's what compliance really is. And now in our Metabolic Health Program, the compliance is helped by, we are actually meeting every day. I am doing morning lives like that one every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days a week. And then we have an app, a cross-platform app that works on all platforms, where people get teaching material every single day, audio, talks, small 10 minutes. Then once a week, a video package, and then some texts that are inspiring to work. We implemented quizzes, educational quizzes, where people every second week, so we can really basically check how good we have implemented our knowledge, the new knowledge. So that's really great. And now we have Q&As every week, and we have Zoom meetings every week where we can see each other. And all of those things is actually implemented for the 10th of the price of my metabolic program, where I take people with third and fourth stage of cancer, advanced cancer, very aggressive cancers. I still run them for people with brain tumors and some other cancers. So the cost of the program is only $80 a month. And after 1 month, after 1 year, we go into basically, we call it membership module, which is less than third of a price. So now we actually implemented my vision of giving people not a medical we want, just a second, I forgot the word here. Just a second, sometimes it happens. Not a medical insurance, which is basically, what you can get. You can buy medical insurance so you can get to the hospital and get repaired and get helped. But my vision of this kind of insurance, it's a health insurance. It's an insurance to not come to the hospital. Basically, it's another way around. So we implemented that one in our Russian group because we started already more than 1 year ago. So there's a big group of people now in this health insurance, where they can maintain their health by addressing different issues every day and asking the questions on the Q&As and seeing me with this kind of morning lives every day. So in this way they can maintain their resilience and compliance. If not 100% compliance, then maybe 90 or 80% compliance. Well, because when people fall off the wagon, and it's very, very natural for us people, they get helped both by the community. We have a closed Facebook group, but also by me on the Q&As, on the Zoom meetings. So I think it's great, and I really enjoy running those groups. So and you are welcome. And now you are here. I'm making a live in our open group. So if you did not join us, so this week you can do it. Actually, you can just follow the links in the group and join us, become a member. So it's open. So guys, that's basically what I wanted to tell you. And I know that many of those people, basically most of those people I can see that are watching now, are members of our program. Yeah, I can see here Chris, Thea, hello, Janet, Catherine, Charlotte. That's our members of the program. And the guys, good to see you. Aura and Elizabeth, hello. Slava. Hey guys. Anya. Tolik. Oh guys, yeah, you are welcome to join us. You can see links in the group wall, on the group wall. And if you have any questions, please ask. Look forward, guys, and I will make more lives in our open group. I will not forget you guys. So if you have any questions, also please write on the wall, and I will always help you. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this morning live. Again, it was about one of the most complex diseases or conditions to work with, basically because it's very hard for people to act, because they don't have a power. They don't have the power to make the right effort. So starting is very, very crucial to make the first step. And I remember this person, my client that I just talked about, he said that he learned the one of the most crucial things that he learned is that you just need to start. And that's what we basically learned in these 2 years. For him to start every time, because he was falling off the wagon all the time, and to start again, that was what he learned, that is possible. And he said, if you start, you can always prolong your training regimen, your lifestyle regimen, and you will always learn. So next time, when you fall off the wagon next time, it's going to be easier. So basically, that's an example of radical acceptance, that you have to accept when you fall off the wagon. You have to accept procrastinations, 100%. You have to accept who you are right now. The version of yourself right now, not the version of yourself who you want to be. Doesn't matter, because we have only this moment we work with. All the other things are virtual reality. Both your past and your future are virtual. So right now, that's the moment where we have to address. And that's why I made this protocol, and that's why I made also this program for you guys that want to improve your life. And if there's something that you can not improve because of procrastinations, because of there's a different aspects that you basically people say, well, it's only nutrition, or it's only breathing, or it's only movement. Depending on who you ask. If you ask a breathing specialist, will always say the breathing is the first thing. If you ask a nutritional master of nutrition, he'll say nutrition is the best thing. You only need nutrition. Then you will discover, and basically that's what most of the people think, that they mostly need to change nutrition, and it's not the thing. It's not the case. As I understand, we need to work both with nutrition and with breathing optimization, and with moderate movement, and with mental training, and to know how to trigger normal immunity, how to restore immunity, and to know how to maintain a stable process. Basically, that's the first thing. And then all the other 5 comes. That's basically what Sakharoff Protocol is about. Addressing the 5 point of human physiology through the process, which is unbreakable. So, in our program, Metabolic Program for Metabolic Health, we help you guys to establish this stable process. Thank you for joining, and if you have any questions, just write on beneath, just under, write the comment under this live, and I will do my best to answer it as timely as possible. Okay? Love you guys. Thank you for joining. Bye. Wish you good health and nice weekend.